WWF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Everything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out. Bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions. Fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Eagle-Eyed Football and welcome back to TACT-EAGLE, where we talk about tactics for our upcoming game against Everton away. As always, I'm joined here with Mr. Buzzcut himself. Dan, how's it going?
Yeah, all good. Doing it earlier today just because I've got to go work soon, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be an interesting game, and I think it's obviously a very important game. So I'm just excited for it, I guess. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. I'm looking forward to this game. It's a game that never actually been to Goodison Park before.
Really? You've never been?
Never been. So I thought this year I have to go because it's the last time at Goodison. And, you know, I got to go and do that stadium before they get rid of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, I think Everton's probably my joint most away day. I think I've done it 4 times. I like Liverpool as a city. I think the city's quality. There's good pubs there, and the stadium's really old as well. And some people from other teams I think moan about that stadium, but I think it gets quite a lot of praise from our fans just because it kind of reminds us a bit of Selhurst Park.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it'll be a good away game. I would have gone had I not had a family thing on Saturday and also lacking money, but
I've never done Everton before. I think my most done away days, even though it's probably the worst one to do, I think my most done is West Ham in the new stadium.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I actively avoid that one because I hate it so much.
It's awful, isn't it? But I genuinely think I've done it about 5 or 6 times now. But ever since the first time I went, where I sat in the upper, I ain't going unless I'm sitting lower. If you guys sat upper before at West Ham, you know why.
Yeah, you're in a different postcode, I think, from the pitch.
Mate, you genuinely need binoculars to even see your goal, let alone the goal on the other end of the pitch. But the first, we have something which we I was going to try and play, but it's not here. So it's currently being uploaded. So we'll just keep talking until that happens. But the first talk about that I want to say to you today, Dan, is something I want to touch on very, very quickly because it involves both clubs. John Textor, what exactly happens now? Like he tried to buy Everton, but the other Americans got there first. What do you think actually happens with him now? Do you think that he stays with Palace, tries to renegotiate with Parish to try and, I don't know, leverage what is already happening, keep it going, or do you think maybe he's going to try and buy a bigger share in Palace, or what do you think's the option for Textor here?
I don't think he'll be able to renegotiate. I think Parish is very staunch in his stance with that. I don't think he really wants anyone to have full control over the club. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is obviously a matter of opinion. I think, to be honest with you, I think he went too far in buying Palace and Lyon, in my opinion. I actually think his multi-club model would work well if it was just Lyon, Botafogo, and Molenbeek. Mm-hmm. I think he's in a position where I don't think he would be losing money on whatever he's put in because the club has increased in value by a pretty solid amount, and obviously the new stand's been approved and stuff like that. So it's hard to say, but I think he probably would sell because ultimately, at the end of the day, he isn't getting what he wants, and I don't think Parish is going to back down. Certainly not until the new stand is built, at least. So I think he will end up going. Whether he goes and buys another club as well, I don't know, but I think he will go. I think he's also just burnt some bridges with the fans as well. You know, I don't think he's got any bridges left to burn, if I'm to be honest, because he's done it with the board and he's done it with the fans. So I don't know what else he can do.
I don't know. I feel like he's sort of backed into a corner where, in my opinion, he either carries on with the selling of his share, or he's got to try and come back in and do what he tried to do originally. We tried to buy everyone out again. So I feel like he's got basically only two of those options. And I think probably if you're him, I think you go with selling the club and trying to go again, purely because of how Parish has set up the hierarchy within the club.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I think so. And I think it'll be for Everton as well. It's an interesting one, obviously, just diverting a little bit from text. It'll be interesting to see how that new owner, obviously, under Mashiri, they're terrible. Genuinely probably had, maybe not so much now, but certainly a few years ago, had probably the worst transfer policy in the league. Like, just wasted so much money on really average players who had no sell-on value. So I think from their point of view, anyone, it will be quite a nice breath of fresh air. And then I know they also own Roma as well. Had Daniele De Rossi, who's doing well, but I think there's been a bit of issues behind the scenes. So everything seems like a bit of a minefield, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think that's enough on the owners. Let's go, or as this video is still uploading, let's go into the predicted 11. And I haven't done a run through of these, so I hope I get the right one. Yeah,
Jeez!
I got the right one. Okay, let's get into it. So, predicted 11 time. I know that everyone's sitting here going, you put Chalobah in every week, and every week he's injured. But this week, he's back, baby. Oh, he better be, because if not, I'm gonna look like a bit of a moron again. But this week, Chalobah is back. Mateus França is back. Potentially. I don't really know yet. But here is what I've gone with. I have gone with Henderson, Mitchell, Gay, Lacroix, Chalobah, Munoz, with Lerma, Wharton in the middle, with Eze on the left, Sarr 100% on the right. And I don't know who to play up front. Nketiah or Mateta. And the reason why I've got both of them there is because I can think of fours for both of them. Mateta, because if he's up against Branthwaite and Tarkovsky, you probably want the big man up there, to hold up the ball, to challenge them in the air, the snapshots in the box when it falls to him. But then also with Nketiah to be able to run in behind, they're not the fastest centre-backs in the world. Also, Nketiah's got that killer instinct in the box, and he is able to drop deep and carry the ball forwards if we are struggling a little bit. So, really and truly, I don't know who to play up front here.
I mean, I'll go into it later when I talk about Everton's defence. I think for this game, Nketiah would be my choice. He's a choice that I think Mateta's been dropping some stinkers, to be honest. I think we were discussing this before this started, and personally, I think it is a mix of he's played a lot. He's also not used to playing a lot. He's never played international football before. And I also think that obviously we haven't played very well. We haven't created a lot. That also hasn't helped the situation either.
Mm-hmm. So this team, is this a team you would start, or would you make any changes to our team here?
I think Yeah, assuming Chalobah is fine to start, I'd be happy to start him. The only thing I might suggest is potentially starting Hughes over Lerma, just because I think Hughes did have a good game against United. The only thing, and also I don't think, from what I saw, I don't think Everton's team are particularly quick. So because of that, I think we can kind of get away with having Hughes in that midfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only slight change. But to be fair, I'll be happy to have Lerma in there as well.
Yeah, I think I'd go Lerma purely because they are still set piece merchants, and we really need someone who can jump and who's physical in that middle, because Mangala and Decore. Mangala was awesome at Forest in a pretty bad Forest team, holding it down in the middle, and also Decore, he has had so much time in that 10 role that even though he sits in this 6th position, like in the last couple of games, because Idrissa Gueye is injured, he still ventures forwards quite often, and I feel like we need that little bit more steel and a little bit more energy than what Hughes could bring in Lerma, purely to defend set pieces, for example.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
Going into Everton now, as it always happens, people that are injured seem to miraculously find Mr. Miyagi healing brush or whatever it was, and they just seem to be back. So Crystal Palace continue their streak of not playing an injured team. So in goal, we've got Jordan Pickford with Mikolenko, Bramthwaite, who are both back, Tarski and Young on the right, with Abdoulaye Doucouré and Mangala as the 2 6s. Dwight McNeil takes that number 10 position with Ndiaye on the left, Harrison on the right, and DCL up top. Are you in disagreement with that team?
No, I can see all of those players playing. They could swap. Do you know what I mean? Like they could swap Lindstrom for Harrison. They could potentially play Coleman instead of Young. But overall, I can definitely see them playing that team.
Coleman's injured, that's why.
Oh, is he injured? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so Everton's injuries are Broja, Tremetti, Patterson, Dele Alli, Coleman, and Idrissa Gueye.
Oh, okay, right, fair enough. I missed those last two.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting because I think. Thanks for watching Northampton Eagle. I think raises a good point about players coming back after injury, whether Chalobah will, but also I wonder whether, from an Everton point of view, whether Sean Dyche will necessarily start Bramthwaite. Mikolenko, I think, was ill.
Bramthwaite played a full 90 in the under-21s this week.
Granted, but under-21s.
I know, but it's still a full 90, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this out of hope more than...
I'm there with you, mate. Trust me. And Thunder is here saying Nketiah is a fox in the box. 100%.
Absolutely.
Also, a pretty mad stat that I said to Dan actually is DCL has actually got the second highest XG of any player in the league so far this year, and he's only scored a couple goals, so he's going to score loads against us. Obviously, Ndiaye's class. Harrison's class as well. So they sort of have what we had last year, where they had a left footer on the right side and a right footer on the left side. And McNeil seems to have slotted into this number 10 position very well. A lot better than I thought he was going to, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think he can go both ways as well. So I think that definitely helps him.
100%. Before we move on, we have a special video that I've been uploading for the last 14 minutes, and it's only just done, so forgive my internet, but this video is sponsored. Please have a look below, I guess.
Today's video is sponsored by ComAvi.
ComAvi is a global online marketplace and community platform designed for people like us, football fans.
It offers exclusive deals, events and rewards for fans of various football clubs.
ComAvi has partnered with Crystal Palace and are now working with Eagle Eyed Football to provide you, the fans, with a better fan experience. Yeah, so guys, if you want to go check out ComAvi, it's free to download, free to sign up. And, you know, we should be promoting them a little bit more in the future. So
Look at us, we're famous, we've got sponsors.
we're going up.
Anyway, is that baby?
100%, 100%. I think that you went first last week with the attack, so your boy will do the same. I will go first this week with how Everton attack. So how? Huh?
And that's it. That's how they attack.
And it's gone. It's all gone. So, Everton's attack. Very, very similar to how they attacked last year. Very, very, very similar. With the Dominic Calvert-Lewin with Decore link-up play. It's very similar, but because of the injury to Idrissa Gueye, they had to move him back and put McNeil in that area. But I think that even though Decore was brilliant in that 10 role for them, because he's just a bruiser up front, having McNeil there with that little bit extra technical ability brings a lot more to Everton's attack compared to brute force, which in a Sean Dyche team is actually quite threatening if you look at who they've actually got out wide and also who they've got going through the middle as well. Because with this, they are a little bit less dynamic, like doing what really and truly, I'm still sitting here thinking that Sean Dyche manages Burnley, but we all know he doesn't anymore. But let me just get everyone there or thereabouts into their positions. Cool. So they are still a very Sean Dyche team, where it is very much look for your target man and play along them. And with the lack of Decore up front, you're only aiming at one person now. You're only aiming at Calvert-Lewin because McNeil isn't the tallest guy in the world, not the strongest guy in the world, but McNeil is still like a big enough character to hold himself, like hold his own in the middle, let's say. So instantly, them used to be playing like this with him and Decore. They had two people to aim at. Now Pickford only has one person to aim at. So that's already a good thing in our eyes. However, though, if Calvert-Lewin can get the ball, let's get a ball. If he is able to get the ball and lay it back to McNeil, all of a sudden you've got a lot more quality in this number 10 position to see Calvert-Lewin spinning behind to maybe ping a ball out to the right or to the left to Ndiaye or Harrison. You've got a lot more quality in the pass. You've got a lot more quality in the dribble as well. So with McNeil, he's actually very confident picking up the ball, dribbling forwards, or even like he did against Villa, where he picked up the ball, dribbled forwards, Calvert-Lewin made a run, took the centre-back away, and he had a pop, and it actually went in. So you've actually got a lot more quality in that number 10 position, and their attack all of a sudden becomes a hell of a lot more dynamic because they've taken someone out and put someone with a little bit more technical ability in that hole. And the reason why I think that it's so effective with McNeil here is because, like I said earlier, they've got a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left. And both of these wingers like to run inside, let's say. They like to come inside, pause, and then they like to run through.
No comment.
No, none at all. None at all. But it makes it interesting because McNeil is primarily a left footer, but some people do forget that he's actually decent on his right foot as well. So he's able to ping passes on both sides. And here's sort of like a little teaser on why I think that we will be good at defending against them. And I'll just do it. Let's move Munoz out of the way and let's pretend that we play a fullback. Because what you would see from this situation is you would see them attacking the half space. Harrison attacks here, Calvert-Lewin attacks here, and Dye attacks down here. And because we've got a 5-back, basically wherever these guys want to attack, there's a player in the way. Which is nice. Very, very nice. But no situation is ever as perfect as this, because what do teams like to do, Dan? Create
Oh, right, yeah.
They like to create overloads. So you would see a Mikolenko coming up here. You would see a Decore featuring. You could even see Young featuring, and then seeing them drop into a backline, something like this. So nothing is ever as perfect as you want it to be. So because of that, we need to be very, very careful when giving McNeil any space. I feel like he needs to be, I wouldn't say marked out of the game, but I think it's almost just as important as keeping Calvert-Lewin quiet. I think in this game, we need to have Lacroix has to be on Calvert-Lewin in this game for me, because he, out of all of our defenders, he's the most dominant in the air. I think he's the strongest out of all of our centre backs, and by God, he's the fastest. And with what Everton really like teams that play with a high line or a mid block, and we are a team that like a high line.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for this is because, as I said, they like to attack the half spaces, but they also, all three of these guys like to press the back line, even the fullback as well. And the second that they see either McNeil, Mangala, Bramthwaite, or even sometimes Pickford will pick up the ball, dribble out of his box, and then hit a long ball through, they all like to sit here and basically make it into a running race. They want to hold the back line, and then the second that ball is launched, all of them are running in behind. And having pace at the back, having Chalobah quick, Lacroix extremely quick, and Mark, who's very quick as well, I think it's very important that if we do want to play this high line system that we have been playing all season and at the end of last season, we really, really, really need to be on our game when it comes to running back towards our own goal, because they love to break, they love to hit balls over the top, and we need to be ready for this because they'll do it multiple times a game. I think the same as last season, they have got one of the lowest long passes completed in the league, but they've also got the highest attempted long passes in the league. So pretty much what David Moyes was doing at West Ham last year, but they've actually can do it very successfully here with a Sean Dyche team. Also, one thing that I think is very interesting is because they have got these opposite-footed wingers. If we put our players back here, I think it's very important that our fullbacks don't actually commit too much towards the winger when they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is because let's say if Ndiaye in this situation here, let's say he's running down the wing, and you've got sort of these kind of players there or thereabouts running into the box. I would say to both of our fullbacks, I would tell them to push them down the line. So, you know, when a fullback's come in, you always allow them to go down the outside, not on the inside, basically. And I think it's very important that when you're doing this, not to commit, because hardly ever do they swing their weak foot at the ball and put a cross in. So, for example, Ndiaye's got a great right foot, not a great left foot.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never see him go down to the byline and use his left foot to whip a cross in. You hardly ever see that. But what you will see is he'll run all the way down to the byline. The fullback will commit here. They'll chop inside and then they'll do a reverse cross this way into the back post. And this is where you'll find Dominic Calvert-Lewin ghosting in behind here and heading home a nice, easy goal. And that'll be for both sides as well, for Harrison as well. Same thing, chink back, ball in, maybe McNeil there, maybe even Dominic Calvert-Lewin there as well. And these reverse crosses, they do them at set pieces as well. Every single set piece is in on the goalkeeper. Corners, swooped into the goalkeeper, not away. Free kicks, swooped into the goalkeeper, not away. So this kind of free kick is always a little bit more dangerous because if no one actually connects with it, it could still trickle into the net on the other side. So it's sort of like a shot, but also a set piece as well. So even if no one touches it, if it's on target, it could still go in if the goalkeeper's not really paying attention. And I think it's very important in this game that Henderson shows the same amount of leadership as he did against Man United in the box in this game, because they're going to be very physical with the goalkeeper and he needs to be strong in this game. He has to be. I said Lerma, I think, is a big deal in this game. You know, just that defensive strength, the jumping ability, just so he can help. Because with Lerma's jumping ability and his physical, basically we'll have 4 centre backs at every set piece, and I feel like that would be very important. And especially if we're playing Nketiah instead of Mateta, we're going to lose one of our big men up front. So we might as well need someone that can do that defensive actions for us in the midfield. But I do think that the best form of defense is attack as well. And obviously, I don't want to delve into what Dan's going to talk about too much here. But I think it's very important that we have semi-aggressive fullbacks in this game, because if we let their fullbacks run the game, I feel like we're going to be put under pressure with a lot of crossing. And I think similar to what I said when we played against Lopetegui's team with West Ham, I feel like if we keep our fullbacks higher, it gives less room for Everton to push their fullbacks higher. They'll be a little bit. And if Lacroix's actually amazing long pass completion, I feel like it's more important to have Sarr up front to have pace to run in behind. Because if we have this, then these two slow centre-backs, they're not going to be pushing up too high, because they'll always have that in the back of their mind that Lacroix could ping a nice ball and they could get caught out.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, of what you were saying, the biggest worry for me would be those crosses. And I do worry about, especially from their left-hand side / our right-hand side. Like, if they're putting in those crosses, I do worry about Calvert-Lewin drifting to the back post and maybe pushing on Mark Gay rather than Lacroix.
That's why I think it's important for Lacroix to be very savvy to where Calvert-Lewin's moving, because he might, even though he might play in the centre if Chalabar's playing, but he'll need to be very savvy to what he's doing. And let's say that Chalabar isn't playing, I feel like that's going to be a big hindrance to us, because then it will mean that he'll be up against Mark. And granted, Mark's great in the air, but I don't know if he's as good as Lacroix, and especially against Calvert-Lewin, who's actually got the better of Mark a few times when he's played against him in the air. And, you know, if he's ghosting off over to that left-hand side, he could be against Richards, let's say. So, like, I feel like Chalabar has to play in this game. I know what Jesper said, where he'll probably take a few, like, take a while to get in there. But I think if Chalabar's fit, he's got the pace, he's got the age on his side as well. And also, I think he's 6'5", so he'll be the tallest person in our team by a long way as well. And I feel like that would come in very handy in this game.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I guess as well, like, if we're thinking like about like Calvert-Lewin and like potentially like, I don't know, like pushing onto Mark rather than like trying to evade Lacroix. I think as long as Lacroix or whoever's around him manages to pick up any second balls that Calvert-Lewin manages to win, then that's another way I guess we can kind of help
Yeah.
you get.
And I think just instead of all this nonsense of if you win the ball in the box, do a nice little pass and get your way out of it, not just get rid, because they have got strikers that just will throw their body at the ball and get it in.
Absolutely. Is Harrison? Is he right-footed? Is he left-footed? I can't remember.
Left-footed.
Oh, he is left. Oh, right. So they both cut inside. All right. Yeah. Cool. Okay. No. Nice.
But they have got Lindstrom, who's right-sided, but he's right-footed, so they could completely change the dynamic of that right-hand side. So he would actually want to go down the line and put a cross in.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. Cool. Nice. Yeah. Sounds like same old Everton, doesn't it?
100%. Quick comments before we go further. If I could have one wish for this game, is other than a win, is be França to come on and prove his worth and score a worldie. I want França to score, full stop. I don't care if it's a worldie.
Yeah, he doesn't. Oh, yeah, because he got 2 assists against Burnley, didn't he? But
yeah, one for Ayew, and then he won the penalty, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, last season he only played like 200 and something minutes, but someone still managed to make like a 3.5-minute compilation of him. I'm thinking, how?
I mean, I know I'm biased, but I think he is a good player.
He is.
I think he's got. I mean, he's still only. I don't think he's 21. I think he's only 20.
Yeah,
and I think the good thing about him as well is that he can play on both sides of those 10s. Like he can play where Eze plays. He can play on the right side as well. So I think it'll just be, maybe giving the more experienced players a bit of a think, a bit of a competition for them to say, if you're not playing well, there's a kid here who's, and he obviously likes to go for it as well. I mean, we all saw when we got the penalty away at City. Was it City? Yeah.
He wanted to take it over Elise.
He wanted to take it, so he's not going to. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to shy away from that kind of challenge.
I like someone with that kind of ambition, and especially someone that's able to play in Eze's position as well. That might give him a little kick up, to make him fix up a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I look forward to it.
Big up, Mikey. Dice like Hodgson only has a plan A and no plan B. Well, if plan A don't work, do plan A harder. I don't know. Is that a pause again? Probably.
I think. I mean, Everton fans aren't happy this season. So
yeah, JP needs more exercise, not a rest. He's just getting lazy.
I don't know though. He only had 2 weeks off in the summer, I think, and when he's never played in a national football before, so I think. Personally, I think he's a bit knackered. I think it's a mixture of him being knackered. He probably is being a bit lazy because obviously he wanted Champions League football and then, kind of half for a strop or whatever. But whatever.
He's gatekeeping his bloody celebration.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
proper Barclays man.
No, JP is a future Barclays man. That's what the streets are saying. Our back three need to be well organised this game. DCL can be very dangerous when given a bit of space, and since they are set-piece merchants, we can't afford to give away fouls.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, they like, as I said earlier, they like a mid-block or they like a high line to run in behind. And DCL, Ndai, Harrison, they're all decently quick as well. So it's a good thing we've got fast centre-backs now, because if we were playing this with maybe Anderson, let's say, then we would have been finished. Finally, DCL will probably score no matter what. Only way out is kicking out. all right, Kevin. Are you the Watford manager? Kick it. Just kick Zaha. It's fine.
I mean, DCL is made of glass, so.
Well, to be fair, Arsenal did it to Rodri, so why couldn't we do it to Everton? But then again, there's some Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, Rodri popped a tactical ACL to get a day off." Anyway, right. Let's get into the defense.
Oh, nice.
We got all three.
3 out of 3, baby. Oh, that's right. I haven't put Pickford's name on there. Sorry. So how do Everton defend? So I think
Oh, you fraud.
they're bigger. I know I said I was ready as well.
You've put Nketiah and JP on.
Oh yeah, but that's just what I had during the game. That's why I had him down. That's
Oh.
why I had him. That's why I put everyone
All
down
the
here.
excuses.
Who did you put? Saar. Right.
Yeah, I put Sarr and you told me to put Nketiah, not JP.
No, but I went with what I think.
Ooh.
No, but I went with what I think Glasgow would
Ooh.
play. Court sessions ended.
No, it's just started.
So let me just have a quick look at my notes. So first thing to talk about, Everton have conceded 9 expected goals this season, which is not the worst. They're 2019, 18, 17, 16th in the league this season so far. They haven't played anyone particularly crazy good, so that's not the best record for them. However, one thing I did notice was their opponents have actually outscored their expected goals by 5 goals. So basically, they've conceded 9 in terms of XG. They've actually conceded 14 goals. So in that sense, they've been quite unlucky. Now, they don't really concede that many chances. So in terms of actual shots that they concede, they're actually ranked 10th in the league. So they really don't concede that many shots. However, they do rank joint 3rd in the league for non-penalty expected goals per shot with 0.13. So on the face of it, and this is going to be like a pretext to the rest of what I'm going to say, they don't concede many chances, but when they do concede chances, they're generally good chances. Is there anything else relevant to say so far? And I think some of that as well, so some of their issues with their opponents outscoring their XG. Jordan Pickford actually has the second worst statistical save rate so far this season of any goalkeeper in the league, and he's already got the stat I'm using is called post shots expected goals, which is basically a measure of how likely a goalkeeper is to save a shot and stuff like that. And Jordan Pickford is already on minus 3.3 for the season.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
How many? Will we 6 games in now?
This will be the 6th game, yeah.
Quite a lot already.
Yeah, I know. So, could be saying, maybe should be having a shot when we can. But anyways, without further ado, how do they actually play? So, we all know what a Sean Dyche team is like. They like to sit low and they don't really press. And that is exactly what happens. So let me start from, let's say we've got the ball up here. So let's say Dean Henson's got the ball. We've pushed up the pitch a bit more. Blah, blah, blah. Something like this, right? So they do defend very narrow. They defend in quite a typical way that other teams defend. So let's say Mark Gay's got the ball here. So we've done that thing where the right centre back pushes up. ML. That was ML. Oh yeah, look well. So let's say our defender's got the ball in the middle. Their striker does the classic thing that a lot of Premier League teams do, where they they kind of split the attack, so they force the team down one side of the pitch. So if in this case it'd be that way. The reason why this is because, say Calvert-Lewin's standing there, your defender's not going to try pass that, because obviously that's a very high risk pass for very low reward. We don't want that. So they try and force you down one side of the pitch. Let's just put it to the other side, because I think what they'll try to do as well is I think they'll try to put Ndai a bit further and maybe push, say, Decore up a bit more, just because what that means is that if Mark Gay's got the ball here, it's going to be very difficult to pass into Wharton. So it's going to force a pass out wide to whoever is there. And then by the time that pass reaches our right centre-back, they're able to come over a bit more and cover the bases a bit better. So effectively what they're doing is they're trying to force us wide. And I think that's maybe a slight tweak that they're going to do for us. Just maybe pushing Ndai a bit more forwards, or whoever's on the left, so that he's kind of covering Wharton. But then also when the ball's pushed out, it can then cover there too. I think that's what will happen, and it's kind of already happened to us this season. But yeah, they do defend. They defend very narrow, is what I would say as well. So they will try and block these central areas. What they do as well is Calvert-Lewin doesn't really do a huge amount in defence, apart from just standing between our centre backs, whoever. So what you'll see is McNeil will kind of be the centre point of a 5 in midfield. Apologies. And what they'll try to do is they'll try to stop us from getting these progressions through the middle, again, forcing us wide. Now, why do they want us to force us wide? Well, it's the classic thing that, again, a lot of teams do, is that let's say Munoz has got the ball here, Munoz. If they got players there, effectively that touch line is acting as another player. Because obviously if Munoz kicks the ball off, or whoever's there kicks the ball off, Everton retrieve the ball. They win the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see what I do. We'll be back with 5. Yeah. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, what's stopping us being back in this position? Say Maxence Lacroix is here. What's stopping, say, us getting into this position and Lacroix or whoever's on the right pinging a ball straight over to Mitchell, who could be in space, for example? Well, what they try to do is they try to force you back as well. So McNeil will make... Oh, no, sorry. Put these players back to where they were. So let's say they've done that thing where Ndai's pushed forward. Well, by the time our right centre-back receives the ball, whoever's there is going to then be pushing up against Lacroix or whoever it is to try and force them back. So again, you're getting forced back to the keeper or back to the centre-back. And when they are on this side of the pitch, because they defend narrow, they'll move this over. So by the time the back to us, our other centre-back or the goalkeeper, by that time, they've then been able to move back here. So that space is now gone, basically. So that's what they try to do. Now, they are actually pretty good at this. They are good at doing this. But I think they've got some fundamental flaws, which I'll talk about in a minute, after I talk about what happens if they are in a lower block. Because they don't really press, if the ball's in this side of the pitch, they don't press. However, if we get the ball onto their side of the pitch, that's when they will start potentially just being a bit more vigorous with their defending. Now, when they are in a low block, sometimes, so they'll defend, again, they'll defend quite narrow, something like this. And occasionally what might happen is one of the midfielders might drop to make a back 5. Last season, McNeil was the one who used to do that, but obviously he plays more in the centre now, so he doesn't do that. But these wide players do have a defensive responsibility for their team. Like I said, let's say Decore's watching Sarr. If Sarr then makes that run, Decore's following him. So then effectively it becomes a back 5. And yeah, that's kind of it. They do simple things, but they do it effectively. They're good in the air as well. So if we're pinging a long ball there, Tarkovsky's probably going to be winning that most of the time. Keane or Branthwaite is probably going to be winning that most of the time. So that's all they do, really. It's more, rather than like a vigorous press to try and win the ball back, it's more like a containment, I guess is the best way to say it. But they are, I think, very easily exploitable in some ways. Let's stick with this low block. So when they are in this kind of low block, again, Calvert-Lewin doesn't really do anything. So it kind of becomes like a 1-1-4-4 sort of thing. McNeil will drift to whichever side. And let's say the ball's on this. Let's say this player's pushed up over here. They're going to be moving slightly more over this way because that's just how they do, because they defend quite narrow. Now, the thing is, I mean, other teams do this as well, but they're anyone who's here, say, unless one of these players moves out of position, they're not going to come over and help them. So basically what that means is, say Eze, for example, pulls wide and Mitchell receives the ball here, it's a 2v2 and they allow this situation. They're happy to have this situation, I think, because they're happy at dealing with crosses and so on and so forth. And it's the same on the other side as well. If, say, Saar was to pull out wide, it'll be exactly the same thing. Now, what if, say, rather than doing that, Chris Richards pings it out there? That's fine, but you got to think by the time the ball gets over here, they'll have just moved back over here. So that's how they do it. Now, I think the problem is with this is that it's quite manipulatable, if that's a word. Because all it takes, right?
It could be manipulated.
It could be it's very easy to manipulate. There you go. Easily manipulated. So let's say Eze's received the ball with a pass here, right? So Lindstrom is now watching Mitchell. Coleman is watching Eze. So if Mitchell makes that overlap, what would happen is that Coleman would then pick up Mitchell and then Lindstrom would then be the one watching Eze. Well, obviously, that doesn't happen instantly. So all it then takes is perhaps, say, Lindstrom or whoever is there to switch off maybe just for a second. Mitchell's made that overlapping run. Coleman is then watching him, and then suddenly you've just got a little bit of open space here to cut in, potentially cut inside. And this was something that I noticed quite a lot when they played against Aston Villa. Like they were just doing clever little 1-2s. Like I wouldn't even say it was anything particularly like mad, to be honest. Just like clever little 1-2s, and just so that what then would then happen is that they would do that, and then their player would be in this position, and then suddenly their team is running backwards. Which, being a Sean Dyche team, they don't really want to run backwards because they're used to having the ball in front of them. And then obviously, you know, if you flash that cross across, then, you know, you're potentially quids in. Now, their biggest weakness is by far the fact that they can't defend counterattacks. And like I said, they had the third highest non-penalty expected goals per shot. So they concede, on average, very good chances. But it's because they just, I don't know what it is, but like, I think annoyingly, Branthwaite will solve part of this problem. So let's say we've won the ball over here. So let me just put all these players back. So we've won the ball. Now, let's say Calvert-Lewin's here. Whoever the right winger is like over here. Manil's pushed up as well. And Dye's over here somewhere. As JC said, Mikalenko's probably going to push high. And the other fullback's probably somewhere around there and what have you. I don't know, maybe he's covering a little bit. I don't know. But let's say, you know, they do a crap pass because, let's be honest, they're not the best on the ball. And let's say Adam Wharton has the ball here. The problem is, right, I noticed, is that their gap between these players here is pretty big. And the thing is, let's say Adam Wharton does win this ball here and pings that ball there. The problem is Tarkovsky and Keane aren't aggressive defenders. So they'll they'll kind of like step off a little bit. And what that means then is that JP, for example, could then run and just turn and then run. And then, if you play your cards right, you've got a very good situation here. And I think as well, they just seem to have like a weird kind of like mentality where they're not really 100% sure what they should be doing. Because let's say, let's say, for example, the ball is, let's say we win the ball more like in the middle, let's say, right? Let's say Mikalenko's out here somewhere. That's another point, actually, that I didn't say, is that because they defend narrow, if you do catch them in this area and because they attack wide with their fullbacks, there will be a lot of space over here, which is potentially why Saar would be a good choice to have over here because he's quick. But okay, let's say, for example, let's say we won the ball here. Now I feel like in their brains, they're having like a battle between whether they should be in the position that they're meant to be in or if they should go to the danger. So what I mean by that, let's say Wharton's won the ball here. Saar's anticipated this and has pulled a bit wider, right? So what I noticed they would do, and let's say Saar's won the ball, Keane would rather just, or whoever is there, seems to go into their position rather than actually like anticipating the danger, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of like a weird kind of like no man's land where they don't really know what they're doing. And obviously we said before, if you give up even milliseconds in football, that could be the difference between scoring a goal and not scoring a goal. So there is that. And that's kind of, I would say that's kind of it for that. And yeah, sorry. So going back to what I was saying about Branthwaite. So let's say Branthwaite does play. He would be that guy that would just move up to Saar and potentially try and hold him up, basically. So that's why it's annoying that he could potentially be playing. Yeah, and that's kind of it, really. The only other thing I would add is that I wasn't particularly impressed with how they defended corners, surprisingly. They seem to concede chances from them. And I have seen them concede goals from them as well. So that could be a potential avenue. I know we're not great at them, but there's a potential avenue. But just to summarise, they are solid in a low block, although their wings are easily manipulated. I think if we time it right, we can pull the players out of position and then get in behind them. And then we can use that space in behind to create something. Otherwise, our best avenue is 100% counterattacks or transitions because they don't really know how to defend them. The gap in between defence and midfield is huge. They don't really run back to do it either. And also, I feel like their defenders at the moment, for whatever reason, are in like a weird no man's land where they don't really know whether to keep their position or react to the danger or what. I don't know. But yeah. But that's why, actually, also we had this debate on before the stream started, Nketiah or Mateta. And this is why I actually wouldn't mind seeing Nketiah up here, because I think if we're pinging aerial balls up, I think regardless of who it is, I think you're going to have a tough time against Tarkowski and potentially Branthwaite. They're both really good in the air. So that's why I would rather Nketiah, just because he's better at receiving the ball and turning and then running at players. And with that massive gap in between the midfield and defence, I think he could exploit that better than Mateta can. But that's all I have to say.
Cool. I think the last thing to talk about is the score predictions. And I actually remember who went first last time. That was you. So it's my turn. I think I'll start this by saying I think if we lose, it's a catastrophe this early in the season. But I don't know if I'm entirely sure we're going to win.
I think the thing that bugs me with Everton always is that our record is.
We are pants at Goodison.
Yeah, I was going to swear, and then I remembered it's not 9 o'clock. So, yeah, it's not. Well, our record there is pretty shocking. In fact, let me actually get our record up.
Yeah, we're rubbish at Goodison, and for the fact that they're scoring quite often and they're scoring good goals as well at home and away, it does bug me a little bit. I can't predict us to win here, even though I would love us to win. Get our first win would be amazing. I can't see it.
Right. Well, do you want to know when our last win at Everton was? Just and win. This isn't like necessarily a league game either.
I'll say 2017.
2014, 14-15 season when we won.
We haven't won at Goodison for 10 years.
Yeah. We've got, and even then, like we drew there last season.
Yeah.
We
should have beat them a few years
2021.
ago, but we bottled a 2-0 lead.
Oh yeah, we bottled that. Like we've got the odd draws here and there, but honestly, like we really don't. We don't do well, Evan.
You know what? I'm gonna go 1-1.
Ooh, I'm going 2-2. So same result, just different. And also like they got. If Branthwaite's playing as well, they got. It's annoying because if we played them, say
last week,
I don't know. Like, yeah. I mean, a point. I know it sounds mad, but a point would mean that we're four league games unbeaten. 1 point again, LA.
I'll try and get it going at Everton.
Nice. But yeah, I'm gonna go 2-2.
Yeah, I'll
also as well. 1-1. I think there'll be goals in this game. I think there'll be goals in this game. I think we've been we've got the second worst chance conversion rate in the league so far.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh no, I know. So no, we're third now. But
Wait.
United and Southampton are below us.
Wait. You never sing that unless you're everyone other than Southampton and Man United.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit of a mad one, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love us to get our first win, but I just can't see it. I really can't.
I can't see it either. I'm not optimistic.
Let's go. Oh, I don't want that. Damn, bare WhatsApps are popping up on this computer, boy. Let's go through some comments before we round off. JP played a lot of football, not much rest to be fair. Player like that needs to break. Worst thing that can happen is he plays too much. Just needs to get back in the groove. That's all. We have to win this. Had enough of them getting a draw and us beating them. We want them to go down. Last win. No, that was our place though. No?
Arthur's a Leeds fan, I think, and I think Harrison used to play for Leeds, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
So I guess
I think he was on loan at Everton and then he made it permanent, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the same window that they sort of had a fire sale of wingers, no? They sold Rodrigo. They sold who's that other guy that was there?
What, Elite?
Yeah.
Oh, Rafinha?
Rafinha, yeah, they sold him. I think they sold that Rodrigo guy as well, the striker. All in the same window when they got relegated. Sinistera as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a fire. So obviously they kept Somerville and Nonto, who are probably their most valuable assets, but still.
Mm-hmm.
The tight defense is the main reason I start JP with that shiny head, some Benteke style headers. Was that the last time we actually beat them at Everton? No, we drew, didn't we? On that one.
Yeah, I think that was two. That was my first away game at Everton. Actually, I think.
Big up Damo. got a run at them. Less passing. They usually suck at the long ball ping pong game. Kevin thinks we lose 2-1. Watershed on YouTube is crazy, according to Mikey. Got to kick him if we want to draw. And Ketia and Saar will be important for us to win this game. Saar has to start. Who's Rafinha? Or is that your Brazilian tongue coming into this, mate?
That's how you actually pronounce it. Because ours at the beginning are H's in Brazil. So it's actually Ronaldo, not Ronaldo.
Brother,
Oh no, I was surprised too when I found that out.
Elise leaving's really hitting us. It always was going to. A world-class player leaving any team's going to hit them hard. Gay, Chalobah, Lacroix versus Everton. I hope the lineup with Nketiah, Saar, Eze. Is Chalobah fit? I hope so. He's saying that he's ready to return, him and França. Do you keep Nketiah in the 10? I don't think so. I think he draws too narrow to play in a wide 10 role. And he's a natural striker. He's going to drift narrow anyway. Glasser said last week, Chalobah should be back, and same as França.
Nice.
Cool. I think that's about it for today's stream. So, guys, thank you very, very much for watching.
Thanks, Phil.
This is TACT-EAGLE. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, up the bloody palace, mate.
Up the palace. Cheese rolls.
Eagles.